weekly, because we win, that is our motto. Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the bird, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Come watch our show, Bet River sponsors. It's time to start, enjoy the show. Come watch our show, Bet River sponsors. It's time to start, enjoy the show.
Welcome in everyone to Betting Weekly Live. It is Wednesday, the 25th of February. You are with Steve Wyss and Will White as we conclude our coverage of the UEFA Champions League Playoff round. Will, what a different introduction there, actually, on the intro for once. American Musical, that one's called. Don't think I've ever used it with you. How are you doing today?
Haunting, Steve. It was. I really enjoyed it. I was expecting the kind of a bit more upbeat, the EDM soundtrack we have, but I do really like that one. Yeah. So, yeah, hopefully we hear that again a few more times. But good day to you, Steve. Good day to everyone out there. Looking forward to today's betting previews.
We are looking forward to it. Welcome in to everyone. Loads of you in chat already. Already, loads of chat about Bodo Glimt last night, and that we have to start there, Will, because that is the result that everyone is talking about. Everything I've seen today is the demise of Italian soccer. How bad is Serie A? The lowest moment for the Italian national team in soccer. Stuff like that. Incredible that Bodo Glimt have won on aggregate 5-2. And in its isolation, I mean, we have to tip our caps to Bodo massively. But how good or how bad is Serie A? Is it an overreaction today, Will, or is the Italian league genuinely getting worse now compared to some other ones?
It's hard to say. There's kind of evidence supporting both sides of the argument there. Personally, I think that the Bodo result is more about Bodo being consistently underrated. We all kind of knew they could do it at home, and now they've done it twice in a row away from home at big stadiums as well. At the San Siro, at the Metropolitano before that. So I think Bodo have benefited actually from the winter break. I think they've come back energized. I think they're going underrated. Serie A, well, we're here now with a less than 50% chance that we have any Italian team, any Serie A team in the round of 16. That is surprising. It's quite shocking for Serie A. But I'm not writing off Serie A teams just yet. They continue to get backed in the markets. Inter went off -2 goals at minus money last night. Turned out that was wrong of the market to come for them. And then Juventus have been backed in tonight at home to Galatasaray, probably because they have to win, and the markets always like to factor that in. But yeah, it's not looking good for the Serie A teams, but I've still got Inter up there, definitely in the top 10 in Europe. But yeah, sadly they won't be continuing in the tournament.
Quite a lot of you have liked the intro music as well. And who was it there? Will Brandon King says, "I love the song. Take us to church. I will follow Will White for life." So yeah, quite a popular tune there. And someone's mentioned the Daily Double. I think it was Adam. How many Daily Doubles are you up to now? Will has won 7 Daily Doubles in a row. It's a good job because not many other Daily Doubles are cashing for the early show at the minute. So yeah, we're looking forward to Will's Daily Double today for sure. Bodo versus Inter was the 4th most wagered on match of the Champions League this season, says producer Troy. And yes, Troy is certainly producing the show today, Byron. I noticed that comment at the top of the show. But yeah, there was some money on Bodo Glimt yesterday. $60,000 on Inter versus Bodo Glimt live over 2.5 goals at +128. Someone had 40,000 on over 3.5 goals though, and that lost. Someone did manage to bag $50 on the 2-1 correct score to Bodo Glimt at 20-1, and that netted him $1,000. and there was several people backing them to qualify, several on the money line. I think that Bodo result went down pretty well with the chat hearing that because we win, Will. Elsewhere across the board, of course, Atletico Madrid got the job done early doors. Sherlock with a hat-trick. What a monster he is when he's on form. A really drab game in Leverkusen. And what was the other game? I've actually forgotten already. Newcastle-Karabakh. Yeah, that actually turned the second half. That turned into a bit like a pre-season friendly where the goals were flowing and everything like that. Karabakh, good to see them get a couple of goals on the board at least. But they could have lost like 15-3 on aggregate. They really could. It was kind of ridiculous.
I think
go on.
I think one thing we should take from last night, and we've said this for quite a while now, but Atleti are confirmed overs team. You can't be backing unders in Atleti games, especially in Europe, especially when they're really on it. And just looking at the lineup, we talk about it the whole time. The midfield is basically full of. Last night they played 3 attackers in midfield and 2 attackers. I mean, it's just you can't be going unders with Atleti anymore. But somehow the market is still giving us good prices.
50% chance Atletico Madrid draw Liverpool in the last 16 round. I don't think either team would want that draw, to be honest, because especially Atletico, because they could get Spurs.
Yes.
So I think Atletico could get a little run going. I've got a gut feeling that they're all in on these cups, and they could get a little run going. But Liverpool would be a big stumbling block, to be honest with you.
Tasty, though. That's a tasty matchup.
It would be tasty, yeah. That is absolutely sure. Okay, guys. John Connolly, 2000, says I backed Bodo to qualify, and both teams to score no in Leverkusen. So he was profiting yesterday as well. One thing we should take from last night, said Byron, if Norway doesn't play 4-4-2 with Sherlock and Haaland up top and Ryerson as the wing, the coach should be fired. I was watching the commentary last night, and they were saying Sherlock is just going to be this understudy for Haaland at the World Cup. They've got to get them both in the same team. Sherlock can play wide as well, by the way. So there's no way. I just don't see how they're not on the field together for quite a long time. There might be periods where it is just one of them. But, Norway have got to get that massive weapon of Sherlock in the team as well, in my opinion. We're going to start with Haaland's former team, actually, Atalanta against Borussia Dortmund. First of all, let's have a look at the Champions League draw here. And the winner of this match will be facing either Arsenal or Bayern. So it's it's not exactly the biggest of dangling carrots, is it? But Atalanta have to come from behind. They're 2-0 down on aggregate here. Plus 114 favourites to win the second leg against Dortmund, who Dortmund just continually have always raised their level in the Champions League in the last, 4 or 5 years. Just seem to know how to get the job done, don't they, in this competition? The tie plus 275. With over 2.5 goals is minus 143. Atalanta plus 400 to qualify now. Can they restore some pride into Serie A? I've got to say, this was not a match that I looked heavily into. I struggle with both, especially Dortmund, Will. So I'm relying on you here.
Yeah, I think it's the toughest game of the night, really, because this is a Dortmund team that saw 35 goals in its 8 group stage games. And I think they're going to come here and sit back. And Atalanta created very little against them in the first leg without Schlotterbeck, without Sula, and without Emre Can. So they played an 18-year-old debutant, Dortmund did, at centre-back, and Atalanta still couldn't create anything. So I think Dortmund sit back here and, initial reaction looking at the market is you want to be with overs because 2.75, 2.5 kind of looks like a low line. But then you think about how Dortmund are likely to approach this, and you think about what Atalanta did in that first leg, and maybe overs backers are going to have quite a nervous first half. So I actually think the main Asian line minus a quarter Atalanta is quite fair, because Dortmund would take a 1-0 loss, and it's hard to really be confident getting Dortmund on side knowing that. So for me, it's into the player props, and actually I think Lazar Samadzic of Atalanta is the way to go because of the injuries to the Atalanta front line. There's no De Ketelaere, there's no Raspadori. And it feels to me like Lazar Samadzic will get the start here. And he has had 3 shots on target in less than full 90 minutes in the Champions League this season. And he's plus 145. So to me, that looks very attractive. I'm not 100% sure he'll start, but obviously at Bet Rivers, you get your stake refunded if your player doesn't start. So that's the way I'm going. I think it's a tough betting heat, though.
Yeah, I think it's a really tough betting heat, this one. And I just got a feeling that Dortmund might play the same way Leverkusen did last night. And they can sit back. They can try and be in control as such. Atalanta force them to make the issue. Brad Bat says he likes over 2.75 goals here at minus 121. Tobias says under 3 Asian goals, and Kovac will shut down the game. And I suspect it is the sort of game where there will be a division of opinion about how it goes. Some will like a wide open overs sort of match, and some won't. I'm leaning more to under, which in terms of Dortmund games means it's probably going to be 3-3 now.
Yeah, the problem with over here is, if you think about what could potentially happen, it could stay 0-0 in the first half, and that's not good for your over, obviously. Dortmund could score first, in which case the game might die pretty quickly, and that's not good for over. Or Atalanta might score first, and then Dortmund, what do Dortmund do then? I mean, so you haven't really got many scenarios other than 2 early goals that really kind of play into your favor. So, yeah. But on the face of it, the goal line does look too low. So I can see both sides of it. And personally, I'm happy to leave it alone.
Yeah, I did think the goal line would be 3, actually, to be honest with you. So, I can also see both sides of it. The 4 biggest bets on the game, all 4-figure sums here. Over 2.5 goals at minus 156. Atalanta to go through at plus 450. Atalanta to have over 2.5 first half corners at minus 115. And Dortmund moneyline has also had a big bet here at plus 215. The 74% of the money is on Dortmund here, and 71% of the tickets. And in the over-under market, 76% of the money's on the over. So lots of different sort of opinions on this game. I'm just going to watch it and enjoy it, and not worry about any bets pre-game, Will, and just hope I don't get sucked into anything, really, because bad things tend to happen when I bet on Dortmund games.
Yeah. So sometimes the best thing to do is to be patient and kind of sit on your hands and just watch a game, take it in, and try and learn something from it. By all means, keep your eye on the market. See what the market's doing, not necessarily with the view of having a bet, but of maybe learning something.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You've got to keep your eye on everything. Byron saying first half under 1 goal, Asian plus 115 if he likes the unders. And maybe this is a match where you could use the Champions League bonus bet if you've not already. I know lots of you have made use of this. This is the last day to use it. If you bet with Bet Rivers in New York or New Jersey, you can take advantage of the Champions League bonus bet from Betting Weekly. Enter the bonus code BW216 for a $10 bonus bet to use on the Champions League knockout round matches. BW216 is available to Bet Rivers bettors in New York or New Jersey. Offer ends today. You must be 21 and eligible, and you can place those bets on the remaining 4 Champions League knockout round games. So, make use of that if you've not already. Loads of you already have been. Some more bets in chat here. John Tate says over 1.5 Atalanta goals, minus 109. Matesk says Atalanta have won 10 out of 12 home games since Palladino took charge. Aaron Blake likes the halftime draw. Special EDD picks likes more goals in the second half. So we're getting a real mix of bets in this game, Will, which is, the Bet Rivers are going to like that. It's definitely one for the sports books here today. Let's see how it goes. I think it's a tough one. Later on, we've got the matches PSG against Monaco. Now, the winner of this tie will face either Barcelona or Chelsea. I mean, that's going to be really, really exciting, whatever the draw is. And PSG are in the driving seat. They're 3-2 up. They're now at home. They were 2-0 down in that game, but came back really, really well. And, you fully would expect them to go through. Monaco, this is their last chance. They've got to give it a go here. The way I see it, we're going to get a very similar match to the first leg. There's going to be goals in it, and I don't think either team will stop right until the end, to be honest, Will. Very similar last year as well. PSG against Brest, wasn't it? Both matches really high scoring. So I know it's a high goal line, but I think it covers today. 3.5 goal line is where I'm going on this match. How about you?
Yeah, there was over 4 total XG created in that first leg. Obviously, Monaco going 2-0 up and then kind of having their hearts broken by PSG, went down a man, and then Desiree Doué came on and took the game away from them. One surprising stat is which of these two teams has had the most clean sheets so far in the Champions League this season?
Well, it means it must be Monaco.
Yeah, it's Monaco. Yeah, PSG have only had 2 out of 9 clean sheets, which makes me think. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. With
PSG. Honestly, they've been really lucky some of those matches. They have.
Yeah. I mean,
but they got them nevertheless. So
yeah. So 2 out of 9 clean sheets for PSG, 4 out of 9 for Monaco, which is mad. I mean, domestically, they're not particularly strong, to say the least. That makes me think both teams to scores in play here. But on its own, it's a little bit too short. So I quite like a PSG win and both teams to score yes at plus 100. It just feels like that's more likely than not. It's I don't completely give Monaco no chance here, but they're without Golovin and they've got a few banged up players. Akliouche is banged up. Zakaria's not 100%. So it's hard to not see PSG winning the game. And I think Monaco have got more chance than not of converting. So both teams to score yes and PSG win at plus 100. And then the player props market, I wanted to target Desiree Doué, as I do quite often. He changed the game in the first leg. There's no Dembele for PSG. But the BetRivers traders seem to be onto him, and they're looking to dodge him. He's favourite basically in all of the anytime goal scorer shots markets. So nothing official there. But with PSG, you've got lots of options in the player props. You've got the likes of Hakimi and Nuno Mendes if you want to go for one of their marauding, forward-thinking wing backs. Or you've got the 3 frontmen. Obviously, Kvaratskhelia will be popular. Doué will be popular, and maybe even Vitinha and João Neves as well. So yeah, lots of options in the player props market, and that's where I'd like to personally try and find a play.
And over 2.5 goals is going to be the first part of your daily double today. Pretty straightforward. I mean, for me, it's just Monaco obviously have to win the game by at least 1 goal to take it to extra time. They're not going to win 1-0. That's just not going to happen here. So they've got to keep going, and they are capable, Monaco, of scoring goals against PSG. They've shown that before. Even if they scored 2 goals here, it wouldn't be a shock. But PSG have just got far too much firepower. They do obviously have Dembele injured again, but it felt like when he came off last week, that was the turning point, because Doué came on and ripped them to shreds, really. Monaco are a weird team. I mean, they've just done PSG a big favour by beating Lens from 2 down out of nowhere. They switched to a back 3 actually in that game. I don't know if Wout Faes is going to play this one. I mean, that was half the problem for me last week. Wout Faes is starting centre back for you in the Champions League against PSG. I possibly Teze could come in for him. But either way, the Monaco defence is just not reliable enough. Then they'll swing. So I'm going straight over 3.5 goals in this game. I think PSG will win it. I think you could see 3-1, maybe more for PSG actually, because they sometimes do like to rack up that score if they're in the mood. They do like to rack up the score. So that's the way I'd be going. 85% of the money's on PSG. 79% of the tickets on PSG. 80% of the money is on the over for this game. Just looking through the chat. Ray Burt, great to see you. The half space says Monaco have conceded at least 2 goals in 6 out of 7 away games in the Champions League. That's an interesting stat. Mates is going against me. He likes PSG winning under 3.5. Doué to score. That's going to be a popular play. PSG money line and over 2.5 says Aaron Blake. I mean, in terms of goal scorers for this game, let's just see where we could go. Doué is the minus money favourite, minus 106. Kvaratskhelia plus 123. Barcola plus 135. Linked to Barcelona today. in the summer for a potential summer move. Kang-in Lee plus 240. I tell you what, I noticed when he came on last week, he just was desperate to score. He was shooting from everywhere when he came on. Did Kang-in Lee. And then, of course, you've got your shots on target props, which, I mean, last week I was all over Nuno Mendes and he didn't deliver. So you can bet your bottom dollar today he probably will. Plus 140 for a shot on target. Hakimi plus 125. I always get on the wrong fullback, Will. And that's the problem. So I'm like, shall I just back them both for a shot on target?
Yeah,
And
both are quite attractive, aren't they? I don't know how. I feel like Monaco are probably going to set up with three at the back. I think Zakaria will play in the back three, probably with Faiz and Kera. Yeah, it's not particularly inspiring, but what puts me off the overs is how Olympiacos approached the tie last night against Leverkusen. They basically gave up. They basically were 2-0 down, playing away from home, and they didn't really go for it. And I know Monaco are very different from an Olympiacos, and Monaco are going to give this a go, but I don't know. I'm a bit concerned if PSG go up 1-0 early, that the game just kind of goes flat, but then PSG don't really, Luis Enrique won't really, it's not really his style, is it?
No, it's not, and I don't think it's really Monaco's style either. If they get involved in a shootout, you're right. Olympiacos were very, very disappointing last night. It was almost as if the Evangelos Marinakis bonus was on the clean sheet rather than to progress. But that was we kind of expected it. Me and Nigel, we talked about how Leverkusen would shut the game down. Don't really see PSG shutting the game down unless they have to late on, and it's needs must. But looking to some more, Real Brandon King's liking PSG and alternate unders. He thinks we might surprise us with a 2-0. Kruku is going with Benfica to win against Real Madrid. That's a brave bet. We're going to talk about that one now. Benfica travelling to Real Madrid. They're 1-0 down. Real Madrid are minus 157 favourites to win the second leg. Benfica, as I say, plus 380, tie plus 320, over 2.5 goals, minus 167. Crikey, it all kicked off last week, didn't it? Here, Will. There's real bad blood between these teams, it feels like, whenever they meet. I'll talk about cards soon, but the winner of this match, of this tie, will play either Sporting or Manchester City. Not the worst draw in the world, in my personal opinion. Certainly Sporting would be a team you would like to face there. So Real Madrid, they're probably going to have to battle here, but I mean, I can't imagine a world where Benfica qualify. I can't. I know Mourinho will come here and make it difficult in patches, but I thought Real Madrid actually raised their game second half last week. So if needs must, they'll find a way. How do you see this second leg going?
Yeah, I think Real Madrid did a good job in the first leg. They really controlled it, didn't really give Benfica much. Obviously, they probably learned quite a bit from the 4-2 in the group stage. We've seen the traditional Real Madrid Champions League drift here. They were minus 200 yesterday, and now they're minus 157. Obviously, no Mbappe is probably quite a big part of that. But you see this a lot. You see Real Madrid drift in the Champions League, and my normal strategy is to wait until the last minute and back them just before kickoff. And I'm going to do that here, assuming that they continue to drift. I just think if we see around minus 140 on the straight Real Madrid win, I just think that's just too big. Obviously, I think man for man, even without Mbappe, I think Real Madrid are far stronger. I personally think this Benfica team is quite average as far as Benfica teams go. And they'll have no Prestiani here, obviously. I'm not sure he's a huge player for them, but he'll be missing too. And I just think that the market is perhaps thinking that Real Madrid don't need the win here and not considering enough just how fired up they're going to be. They are going to be super fired up for this, super motivated. Obviously, Vinicius is going to be super motivated. Benfica will be too. I think in big games, I think with Real Madrid in general, a lot of it comes down to motivation and how fired up these big players are. And I think for this one, they're going to be really fun. I know it's minus 150 at the moment, but if we see minus 140, you don't see that kind of price often at home in the Bernabeu. And I've got it in my daily double at the minus 157 current price. But if you can wait, maybe wait until kickoff and see if we get a better price. I mean, yeah, minus 140. What would you think if you saw minus 140 and Real Madrid straight win in this game?
Yeah, I think the reason that it would be minus 140 is because they don't have to win. And then there seems this mentality sometimes. We talked about it yesterday. Teams that don't have to win. All right, it didn't work out with Leverkusen yesterday, but I actually thought they should have won. They had the better chances because even if it stays 0-0 for, say, 75 minutes, at some point the other team has to open up. They just have to open up and pick, and they can be picked off. All right, there's no Mbappe here, but Vinicius is going to be fired up. Garcia's maybe an underrated attacker.
Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah, and the likes, I mean, they've still got a lot of quality in this team. Gerler, I thought, had a good first leg. He's just starting to maybe find his feet at Real Madrid. Kruku is certainly against you on this one, Will. He's really strongly in Benfica's favour. Quite a few liking Vinicius to do things in the props market. And look, he is going to be fired up in this game. He'll want to make a statement in this one. You know, if he scores, what will his celebration be? He's plus 115 to score any time. You know, in terms of the shots on target market, you can get plus money on Vinicius to have over 1.5 shots on target even. And he trust me, he will be having a go here today, especially with no Mbappe around.
But I think he'll get a lot of attention from the Benfica players. I think without Mbappe, without Bellingham, I mean, how do they feel about the whole thing? I don't know. They probably see the other side to it, to most of us. And so I think they're going to be aware of the fact, and Mourinho will be aware of the fact that Vinicius will want to have a big night. So I get that all of the attention is going to be on Vinicius, but the market's attention is on Vinicius. And I think actually Arda Güler's the way I go in the shots on target market because he's minus 114. Without Bellingham, he plays in that kind of more creative position, just behind the front two, let's say, in Vinicius and Gonzalo. And he loves a shot. He averages 2.4 shots per 90 this season, 0.9 shots on target per 90. And with Real Madrid averaging 7.22 shots on target per 90, one of the highest in the Champions League, I kind of fancy Güler, minus 114. You mentioned him earlier on, and I guess he is more of a creator than he is a goal scorer, but he does like a shot.
4 shots last week, 2 on target. I thought he had a really good game, actually. And this is one guy who can shoot from range and find the target. You know, players that hit the target from outside the penalty box, you'd probably put him in the top 10 in Europe for it because he's that sort of player. So
I'd look at Valverde as well, actually, is another one I had my eye on. Now he's kind of...
Gerler's a really good point there, minus 118. Valverde's minus 125 for a shot on target.
Yeah, I don't know. I've just got a feeling that this might be a Valverde kind of night. Now that he's been kind of freed up from the right back position, Trent's probably going to start there. Maybe Valverde has a big game. They're going to need players kind of pushing on from midfield with the absence of Mbappe and Rodrigo and Bellingham. So, yeah, I don't know. I just think the market is overvaluing the players missing for Real Madrid, overvaluing the fact that they don't need to win to qualify. But I think they're going to be massively up for this. And some of the players that perhaps, you know, would be at the back of our minds normally are going to be the ones to kind of take the weight for the absences.
John Tate says Vinny to score and be carded. The problem is if he gets carded, I think he's suspended for the next match. So, but maybe the emotions would get the better of him, and it would just be like an automatic thing. The Bernabeu is going to be rocking, says Dave Clark. Yeah, it is. It's going to be a fascinating match, and I've got to talk about the cards because there's a lot of discussion in chat about them here, and the referee appointment. Actually, I mentioned this on the Instagram Live with the Hitman at halftime last night. Initially, I was quite pleased that Slavko Vincic has got it, but he's become a real measly card giver in the last probably half a year. It never used to be the case, but Slavko Vincic has not given more than 3 cards in any of his last 8 matches officiated. So with a card line at 4 or 5.5, for those who can access this market, I just couldn't get involved with that. However, there is potentially, I think if I was betting on cards in this game, I'd go red card yes. And red card yes is at plus 300. Sorry, plus 260 now with Bet Rivers. It has been backed in today. Or you could go Real Madrid to be given a red card at plus 540 or Benfica red card at plus 420. It's that sort of match where there maybe won't be that many cards, but one of them could well be a red. So
yeah, it's hard to imagine a scenario where the sending off isn't in play, even if it's late in the game and kind of Real Madrid are 3-0 up. You can see one of the Benfica players just kind of getting a bit over agitated, and yeah.
I think it's the sort of match where, again, if you're betting on it and there's a red card early, even don't be shocked, and it can impact the match. That is for sure. But Vincic, I think that's why they're giving him the game, because he's suddenly not giving many cards. They don't want a ref to overreact to stuff in this game, but these two do not get on. There's bad blood, and I'm not even sure Vincic can. If I had to, I still think probably will be 4 or 5 cards in the game. So. Even Vincic won't be able to go under his normal mark in this one. That's the daily double. It's on screen, by the way. PSG-Monaco over 2.5 goals, and Real Madrid money line plus 116 for Will to go 8 in a row on daily double winners. Let's hope we can fire with that one. Just looking at some more potential bets in the game. Again, loads of talk about cards. Vinny shots on target. Vinny to score. Let's see how it goes. Oh, the betting splits for the match, by the way. 80% of the money's on Real Madrid, 93% of the tickets are on Real Madrid, just 69% of the money is on the over. And the biggest bet on the game is actually Real Madrid -2 Asian handicap at plus 255. So a significant 4-figure bet has been placed on Real Madrid -2 on the Asian handicap. Be interesting to see how that one goes. All right, last game on the card. I actually think it's potentially the most exciting of the night. Galatasaray go to Juventus, and I mean that first leg was remarkable. Juventus led 2-1. Galatasaray pulled it back and then completely racked up the score later on, and it looks like they're in a fantastic position. Juventus are -230 to win the second leg. They're plus 333 to qualify. I thought they'd be bigger than that, actually. Over 3.5 goals is plus 120. Both teams score yes at plus 175. I mean, I think Juventus will go down swinging. I'll tell you one thing: they may get knocked out, but they're going to go down swinging. And for me, this is my best bet of the day, along with the over 3.5 in PSG-Monaco. But we can go 3.25 Asian goal line here. Well, I just don't see Juventus going down without some sort of a fight. And I don't think Galatasaray, even if they attempt to, can just come here and shut down the game and park the bus. I don't think they're good enough for that. So I think we're going to get potentially a crazy tie again. I'm liking the goals. What say you?
Yeah, you're starting to talk me into it. We kind of chatted off air about what your opinion was on this game, because I was struggling. But I certainly would lean the over here. And you're starting to talk me into it. You're right. Like, it's not really in Galatasaray's nature to come here and try and shut up shop. They might try to, but whether they're capable of doing it is a completely different thing. And Juve are looking probably to set up quite attackingly here. Weston McKennie is probably going to start fill in for Cambiasso at left back. And so that probably means we can't target him in the player props market. But it does feel like they're going to set up quite offensively with Kenan Yildiz, Conceição, and Jonathan David all starting as well. So it does look like goals might be on the menu. The line's a little bit too high for me to have as a bet, and I wouldn't want to steal your thunder either, Steve. There was over 4.5 total XG created in the first leg, though. When it comes to the money line and the Asian handicap, the market is pricing in quite a bit of Juve needing to win here. It's hard to imagine they'd be -250 on the money line if they didn't have to try and fight back from a 5-2 deficit. So at the same time, you can't trust Galatasaray really on the +1.25 line. So I kind of like your angle with the overs. For me, looked in the player props. Obviously, Kenan Yildiz is going to be attractive to a lot of bettors here. He's a little bit too short for me. He's the favorite in all of the kind of main player prop scoring shot markets. I'm going to go a little bit more left field. Francisco Conceição. Still not attractive enough for an actual bet at -167, but he looks a lot more attractive than Yildiz -335 or Jonathan Davies -455 for sure. Maybe a parlay piece, Conceição at -167, but he does average 1.12 shots on target per 90 over his career, and this is probably going to be a game where Juventus are going to look to get a lot of shots on target, create a lot of opportunities. I think it's much more likely than not Conceição gets one of those. So yeah, those are my thoughts. But I think, yeah, I can't quite like your overs.
Yeah, I really like over 3.25 goals here. I like Conceição. I think that's probably as good a player prop as you'll get. He'll cut inside from the right-hand side. He shoots a lot. And this guy is capable of scoring Galazzo as well. In the player specials market, I think you could do worse than backing Conceição to score from outside the penalty box. 11-1 with Bet Rivers. That's doable for him. And in terms of McKennie, I actually think Weston McKennie to score from a header at 13-1 is far too big. He won't be as much of a threat from open play in this match if he's playing in that left wing-back spot. But trust me, he is dangerous from set pieces. Positionally, he's so good at finding space. And I think Juventus will get a lot of set pieces in this game. This is a match, someone was asking about corners. This would be my best game for corners today. It's a 10.5 corner line, but Juventus won't be stopping right until the end unless Juventus are like beating them. So I think the over 10.5 corners line will comfortably cover overall. Byron says if Gala tries to park the bus, it'll only hurt them. They need to come and have a go. And I think that's how Gala will think themselves, hopefully. If they park the bus, I still think the overs come in. And if they have a go, Galatasaray are very capable of causing Juventus problems. We know Juventus have an Achilles heel defensively in terms of they just switch off too often. And that is not good news when Galatasaray do have a plethora of weapons themselves. So, yeah, I think we could get a crazy game here. I think we should price something like 3-2 to Juventus sort of territory, even 4-2, just to make it exciting towards the end. I don't think they'll qualify. I think it's too much to make up, and I certainly wouldn't be backing them at plus 330. Yeah. I'd need at least 6-1 here, Will, for that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they need to win by 4 goals. It's mad, isn't it? Plus 333.
I mean, what is Galatasaray to qualify is at -500.
Yeah,
that's actually generous. Yeah, really, in a lot of ways. I mean, Juventus may well be overrated a bit here. Yeah, Galatasaray can't defend when their life is on the line, says Peter. He's going 3-1 Juventus. No long shots on target. He likes that one. You could look at a lot of player props. And Steve from Lynn, McKennie odds adjusted to his position over the last week. He's -165 for a shot on target now, Steve. If he's playing left wing back, you couldn't really be backing that. But I still think he will get a shot on target because of that set piece danger that he has. Jonathan David should be back in starting up front, by the way, for them here. That is the news on the grapevine. I mean, Lois Openda, poor thing, he couldn't even get in the starting lineup last week. That's how little they trust him.
Yeah,
McKennie was given the false 9 spot, but it didn't really suit McKennie. I think false 9 is just too high for him. He needs to be more deeper, Will, in that position. What are you going? What's your correct score prediction here?
Probably something like 3-1 Juve. Yeah, probably 3-1. I mean, it's just hard to support Juve at this kind of price, especially like it's just counterintuitive to think of. You've got Osimhen, you've got Noah Lang, those 2 starters for Napoli back in the day, and there's no way no way Juventus would be -250 at home to Napoli, right? So it's kind of Galatasaray weird. Like if you look at their team on paper, they've got some really good play. You've got Leroy Sané, obviously, as well. And they've got some really good players that have played at the very highest level. But they, for whatever reason, the sum of the parts doesn't necessarily equal the sum of the individuals. So, yeah, it's weird seeing Juve this short, but at the same time, it's hard to see them not winning.
69% of the money's on Juventus, 64% of the tickets are on Galatasaray. So quite a bit of public support on Galatasaray. I think I think a lot of bettors out there are looking at the odds on Galatasaray and thinking that's just too big and they're worth a nibble sort of thing. 60% of the money's on the over. Biggest bet on the game is in the corners market. Nearly $4,000 on Galatasaray to have over 3.5 corners at minus 130. I could see that winning, actually. I think the corners will rack up in this game. I could see Juventus winning. I mean, yesterday, I think Inter had 17 corners against Bodo Glimt. I could see, honestly, Juventus getting a dozen corners on their own in this game. It's the sort of match where, especially if they stay relevant until the end, I think they'll keep pushing in that regard. Another big bet, biggest other bet on the game, Juventus -1 Asian handicap at minus 122. And just before we go, a reminder about the Champions League bonus bet. Last chance here today to use it up. If you bet with Bet Rivers in New York or New Jersey, you can take advantage of the Champions League bonus bet from betting weekly. Enter the bonus code BW216 for a $10 bonus bet to use on the Champions League knockout round of matches. BW216 is the code, available at Bet Rivers bettors in New York and New Jersey. And the offer ends today. Must be 21 and eligible players only. Do make use of it if you've not already. I know loads of you have used that bonus bet. We do have team news for the early game, Will. Atalanta against Borussia Dortmund. No real surprises for me in that Dortmund lineup. It's as expected. Jurasi Ryerson, of course, involved there. Atalanta, I don't think there's a surprise there either. Samaradzic is the player prop that you said to keep an eye on. He's going to play. They're playing with two attacking midfield centres, apparently. Atalanta. I think they have been doing that a bit recently, haven't they? So it's almost like the Christmas tree formation, actually, that. Will Serie A get some pride back?
I
today?
don't know.
That's the question.
It's surprising to me that there's no Ederson in that starting lineup for Atalanta. And then Schlotterbeck hasn't made it for Dortmund, but Emre Can has. Don't know, a bit of weakness on both sides there. I don't know whether Atalanta have got enough to qualify here, but I hope they make it interesting, right? Because it's the only early kickoff, and we could do with a nail biter of a finish.
Yeah, I mean, extra time usually happens somewhere in this round, and I'm trying to think where the best chance of extra time happening is. And for me, it's this match. Probably, this is the match I would say probably has the best chance of extra time. But it's usually somewhere you get it. Schlotterbeck was injured the last week, of course. He's back. He's fit on the bench, though. He is on the bench for Dortmund today. If they need to bring him on and shore it up, an absolutely crucial player for them, no doubt about it. Just looking through some of the other comments here. Deep Seek 1618 says Atalanta moneyline and both teams to score looks good, but he's still saying potentially a 2-2 draw there with Dortmund pushing it late. If Galatasaray score, it's over, says Reese Conroy. The only chance Juve have is 3-0 and then winning extra time and penalties. I think the 4-1 would still have a chance, Reese. They could do it 4-1. I wouldn't rule that one out for Juventus if they really get ticking. They've got to play a brilliant game, though, Juventus. I actually think both Serie A teams will win, but not go through. That's the way I see it today, Will. And the daily double is, reminder that one on screen, PSG-Monaco over 2.5 goals. Real Madrid-Benfica, Real Madrid moneyline plus 116. I think the Hitman's live later on Instagram. Instagram Live, it will be at the half times, 3:45 Eastern time. That's 8:45 in the UK. I can't be with him tonight. I don't know who will be. The Hitman's doing a lot of these in-play halftime talks on Premier League, Champions League. Will we see Will White with the Hitman on Instagram Live at some point in the next few weeks? Well, that's the question. It's quite a bit of fun, actually. He's really good at doing them.
I'm up for it. I'll wait for the invite from the Hitman himself. I wouldn't want to invite myself and steal his thunder potentially, but yeah, I'm sure he'll have some good advice and some good opinionated insights at halftime for sure.
Yeah, do follow that Instagram channel as well for the tennis content, which Nigel's out there in Dubai. There's some fantastic stuff as always when Nigel's on location. And again, shout out to those tennis boys. They've been doing some great stuff. Another game better match has been released today, so do check that out. And then tomorrow I'll be back for Europa League Conference League with James Eastham as per usual. Will, it was a a great pleasure as always, and we look forward to the last 16. Is the next time me and you, I think, will be together. Real Brennan King says, is it too early to talk City or Liverpool to win the Champions League, given how strong the English teams are in the tournament? Are you going English team or non-English team to win the Champions League this year?
Just trying to do the maths quickly in my head. It probably is about an even money shot. I'm going to go... I'm going to go non-English. Non-English. It's going against the grain. We've got five of the top 8 Premier League teams. We've got all 6 in the last 16. But I'm going to go non-English. I don't know. I've just got a feeling PSG are timing things right. Got to be positive about my own team, FC Barcelona, even though it's hard to really.
A lot will depend on the draw. I mean, Barcelona will get either PSG, likely to be PSG, or it could also be Newcastle. I mean, you'd certainly rather Newcastle than PSG, wouldn't you? In that department there. By the way, Juventus or Galatasaray, they'll get Liverpool or Tottenham. We could get Galatasaray Tottenham as a last 16 game. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, Galatasaray would fancy their chances big time there. Tottenham actually would as well. And you would get one of those teams in the quarterfinal. We could get Sporting against Bodo Glimt. Equally, you could get Bodo Glimt Man City. Yeah. In which case, I don't think they'd have any chance whatsoever. But I could see Bodo upsetting
Sporting Bodo and Galatasaray Tottenham. That'd be something, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be very interesting. You know, UEFA need to make it interesting. Hint, hint, UEFA. Get those balls hot and cold, fellas.
Well, I mean, if we're onto conspiracy theories, I wouldn't be surprised to see some interesting refereeing tonight, and one of these ties go to extra time for a bit of additional excitement, because we didn't get much last night, really. The Bodo story was obviously great, but it was over pretty early. I mean, it was definitely over after they went 2-0 up. But, you know, yeah. But
let's see how it goes. I think there'll be a match that goes extra time as well. I think the most likely one's the early one, but let's not rule anything out today. Say great pleasure, Will, as always. That's the Daily Double on. Put the Daily Double back on screen again, just to remind people. But thanks so much, everyone who joined live or on demand for this Champions League midweek, and so many of you in. Please do hit that like button if you've not already, and any newbies in, hit the subscribe buttons. It'd be greatly appreciated. We're close to 13,000 there. We'll see you for the next round of the Champions League, which is in about 2 or 3 weeks' time. And tomorrow, join me Betting Weekly Live with James Eastham, as always. But until then, gamble responsibly, take care, and cash some winning tickets. Goodbye, everyone. Take care.